What is going on, Sales Dev Squad? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Sales Dev Squad podcast. We got a super awesome episode for you guys today. We'll be speaking to the one and only Larry Long Jr., who is just a really awesome the guy to be around. He sent me like a really personable message that just brought a huge smile to my face, and I think that's what Larry's really good at and really passionate about, just bringing smiles to people's faces and bringing quality leadership to the field of tech sales and sales in general. He actually has prior experience as an NCAA athlete, huge sports fan, and has led some really quality business development teams over at Pendo, Three Ships, and most recently is building out the sales team over at Teamworks. So super excited to have him on the podcast here today. But Larry, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
Come on, Mateo. Thank you. I'm super blessed to be here with the SDS podcast, Sales Dev Squad. I'm trying to be a part of the squad, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. Love it. Love it. Larry, I guess for any of our viewers out there who aren't too familiar with who you are and what you do you mind just giving a brief overview of your background and I guess how you fell into tech sales?
Yeah, well, Mateo, first, they better recognize. Nah, I'm just messing. I'm happy to be here. Larry Long Jr., LLJR in the house. I've been in tech sales. Goodness gracious. I started off my career doing IT consulting. So I was just working on projects at Accenture, opened up an indoor baseball softball academy, and that was really when I had to sell officially. Before that, I used to own Lawns by Larry when I was a teenager, knocking on doors, selling lawn care services, but that's not gonna help out your SDRs right now. But essentially getting in the tech sales, worked at a company, making 150 calls every day to CPAs, certified public accountants, and accounting firms, just getting absolutely obliterated. I had to bring in my bulletproof vest to work every day because we were just getting knocked over the head. I remember I had North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee was my territory. And when you're making 150 calls a day, getting beat up, you're going to learn a lot. I had a guy tell me, "Hey, Larry, thank you for calling, but go ahead and put on some concrete shoes and jump off a bridge." I said, "Oh, Lord, he just told me to kill myself." I looked at my boy Casey on the side and I said, "How do you overcome that objection?" So I said the first thing that came to mind, "God bless you too, sir." But essentially, ever since then, I've been in tech sales. I've sold to accountants. I've sold to medical practices. I've had the opportunity to sell to e-commerce retailers, and then most recently, product managers over at Pendo. And then now I get to sell to athletic teams, athletic departments, which is really in my gifting because I love technology. I'm a tech geek, and I absolutely love sports. So being able to combine both of those, that's the American dream, well, ain't it?
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. So like, I mean, it's the perfect combination for you. You're dealing with sports, you're dealing with technology. I guess, like, could you walk us through, like, what you guys do over at Teamworks? Obviously, like, the sports industry is kind of notorious for not really being as quick to adopt certain technologies as maybe some other industries like technology. Like, I guess, do you mind just sharing a little bit more about what you guys do specifically at Teamworks?
Yeah, great point. And technology is eating the world everywhere you go, whether it's ordering at the gas station. Here we have sheets made to order. You use the computer. For us, we're just bringing technology and a platform to elite athletic programs. So I cover collegiate. We work with Power Five, your ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, universities, your group of five, your FCS, your non-football conferences. And what we do is we help them to empower and engage their student athletes through a communication platform. So if you look at our website, teamworks.com, you'll see we have a case study where good old Aaron Rodgers talks about the difference in culture due to increased communication with the new coaching staff with the Packers. Well, we see that at colleges and universities. If the right hand doesn't know what the left foot is doing and everyone's not on the same page, I guess you could call that a cluster, and you know how to finish that. Essentially, you're asking, WTF, where's the fire? What in the world is going on? So we provide a communication platform in an app that allows folks to communicate a message, allows everyone to see calendars, shared calendars, allows for digital file transfer, the opportunity to fill out forms from the comfort of your phone, as well as academics. We all know that showing up is half the battle. So essentially, I need you, Larry, when you go to class to check in, and it's going to put a pin on your location. You know that Carroll Hall, that's not where your science class is. And then when you leave, check out, and we're going to put a pin on it again, just to make sure that we're holding you accountable. Because when you look at student athlete, student comes first. And so many times that gets lost, where essentially it's athlete. And we believe that, hey, we want to empower and engage these student athletes through our app. Now, we just acquired a company a couple months ago called Influencer. And they're a social media app that allows student athletes to tell their story on Twitter, on IG, on TikTok, you name it, so that now they can build their brand. And in 2021, with name, image, likeness, and I know you're out in California where they passed the law. I think they recently passed it in Florida. And right now there's legislation that's looking to go out there. We're in a position to once again empower and engage student athletes to share their story, but also to be able to reap the benefits financially of their name, their image, and their likeness. So I absolutely love what I do. I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely the right spot for me.
Dude, that's so like, where do you kind of feel like this idea of like personal branding, like how important is like building a personal brand, especially in post-COVID, right? Like COVID absolutely flipped the sports industry like on its head. Like how important is, in your opinion, like to build like a personal brand, like especially right now?
It's super important for both the athletes as well as for the teams and the athletic departments. Because if you think about it, let's say I'm a recruit looking at high-level basketball programs. Am I going to follow Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, their team page? Yes. But am I going to get the most value out of following their players? For sure. I want to dig into what the players are posting to see and get that peek of what is life like on the inside so that I can make a decision. So if you think about it, a lot of the content that's being put out there is coming from those players. It's not coming from the official site of whatever football or basketball or gymnastics or volleyball program. It's coming from the actual players. So it's absolutely vital to both the individual who's trying to build their brand, but also the institution that wants that representation and wants the eyeballs, hopefully in a positive manner, to be able to leverage all the content to be able to share that accurate, that positive story of what life is like on the inside. I don't know how much you know, but recruiting is an absolute, it's a jungle out there on the recruiting trail. And essentially each institution is trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to differentiate. So essentially being able to really boost your athletes' prowess and their brand is a huge differentiator.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's all most fans these days really follow, right? Is like particular players that they really enjoy. I mean, being able to leverage that in an effective way seems just critical, or at least like essential. Absolutely, you know.
Mateo, you're wearing the jersey, but LeBron, Taco Tuesday. I mean, you talk about the engagement that he has with his fan base, with those that love LeBron. I mean, it's so tight. And if you look at his Instagram, a lot of what he does is just so authentic. It's just the authentic content versus the sponsored content that others out there are putting out. That's kind of fluffy. It's like, I don't really believe you. That's not all too authentic. You're putting that out there because you're getting a paycheck. I'm personally, and most people are attracted to those folks that keep it real and really give that insight into, here goes what my real life looks like outside of the spotlight. Here goes my family. Here goes some of my passions. Here goes what I spend my time doing throughout the day. So to answer your question, the importance of personal brand is of the utmost importance, especially as we come out of this pandemic, hopefully sooner rather than later.
I know there's a lot of sales leaders out there that like have certain things to say about just like individual sales reps or like individual people building and starting their own brand. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, do you encourage anyone to sort of like go out there and build their own brand? And like, how does that affect you as like an individual salesperson? Does it make you more authentic in doing so, or just like what are your thoughts around just starting your own brand that way?
I'm a huge believer, and I encourage all of my reps. I manage 13 reps. I encourage them all to be active on social channels because it provides another opportunity for you to be authentic, for you to provide value. If what you're saying isn't valuable, then you probably need to zip it. But if you have something of value that's going to help other people, by all means, shout it from the mountaintops. And by mountaintops, I mean Twitter. In the world of athletics, it's Twitter, which is a whole new game for me because I'm not an expert tweeter. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, yeah, that's my jam right there. But I can tell you that Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney, John Calipari, they aren't engaging on LinkedIn. I wish. But yes, to answer your question, I think it's important for every individual contributor. If you have something of value, if you can add and shed valuable insights, if you can shed valuable content that's going to help people to elevate their game, to elevate their information, their skill, their knowledge, by all means, don't keep it to yourself. I had this challenge at the beginning of the pandemic where I was really debating, do I want to start producing videos? And my buddy, I'll call him a mini mentor because he's been an awesome support, just an awesome guide, Morgan Ingram out of Atlanta, Georgia. And he told me, he said, hey, Larry, one of my mentors shared with me, hey, Morgan, if you don't put out that video, you're being selfish. You're doing a disservice to all it takes is that one person that could benefit from your point of view and from what you have in your mind. And by you not sharing it, you're essentially disappointing that one person, which is all that it takes to make it worth it. So essentially, I think last week I produced and published my 10th, actually 9 out of 10 midweek, midday motivational minutes. One of those weeks I decided not to do a video and I just gave props to some time I was spending with my kids, but hopefully that's helpful, especially during this time. It's easy to get stuck. I mean, this 4-letter word we call life, it's tough, Mateo. I mean, it's these streets are mean. So essentially, if I can help someone to weather that storm, to get a boost, to get a smile on their face, then mission accomplished. That's all I can ask for.
There you go. No, you've definitely brought a lot of smiles to my face, Larry. Actually, I have a video pulled up on my screen here, and you say you are what you consume, and you said in this video, like, eat, what you think. Like, could you kind of go into that a bit further, like what you meant by like you are what you consume?
Yeah. So I mean, it's the concept is whatever you're putting in to your mind, your body, and your soul is pretty much what you're going to put out. There's a saying, and I might have this wrong, but I think it was Jim Rohn that says you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now think back to the crew that you ran with in middle school. I'm going to do the same. The crew that I ran with in high school. And essentially, I was lucky and blessed that my crew, they were positive. We were pushing each other in a positive direction. Hey, who's going to get that starting position on the basketball team? Unfortunately, I was coming off the bench, but it drove me. Hey, Larry, step your game up, man. Come on, we got to get the crew together. We got to get that squad. We might not be the SDS squad, but we had our own squad. Come on, dude, step your game up. So essentially, it's the same thing in life, in business, and in sales. The company you keep has such a great impact on you, whether you believe it or not. If you're surrounding yourself with positive, driven folks that are about that life, chances are, I don't know if it's osmosis, I don't know if it rubs off on you, but chances are you're going to be about that life as well. Whereas if you're hanging out with that negative crew that all they do is moan and complain, bitch and moan, negative Nancy's, negative Nellies, chances are you're going to fall in that trap as well, and you're not going to be about that positive life. It's the same thing with books. Essentially, what books are you consuming? What articles are you reading? What YouTube videos are you watching? If it's not about positive, then chances are you're going to have a challenging time to stay positive. Because I can tell you the news, they might as well call the news bad news. I can't remember the last time I watched the news and they shared anything that was good.
Oh, yeah.
I've made a choice that, hey, I think Sweet Georgia Brown said it best, and you can Google her. She said, ain't nobody got time for that. I ain't got time for bad news. There's not enough room in my head for bad news. I need nothing but positive now. I want to be realistic, and I want to know what's going on. But essentially, I'm going to make a conscious choice to try to surround myself with positivity right here. Steve Noodleberg, Confessions of a Serial Salesman. Sorry, my video camera's going to boost down. David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me.
There you go.
My namesake, Larry Levine, Selling from the Heart. Where do I stop? I mean, I can. I'm here in my room. I got books galore. I'm trying to fill this big old. I don't know if you can tell, and I'm sure your listeners, they probably can't see me, but I got a big old head. I'm trying to fill this big old head with as much positive knowledge that I possibly can, and that's a lot of room to fill.
Now, have you had people that that you've like encountered that have been like really negative, and then somehow have been able to change their mindset to embrace this just positivity, and what's your experiences with that?
Yeah, so I mean, to answer your question, yes. I played sports with plenty of people who were not wired, who were just wired for, I'm going to grumble. I mean, I got family members being recorded, so I ain't going to shout them out. But I got one at the family reunion. They make the broccoli and rice casserole. They're like, this broccoli and rice casserole is salty. It's like, you made it. What are you complaining about?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that we all know that would complain if they won the lotto. I won $1 million, but I said I won it in all fives. It's like, come on, Cletus, are you kidding me with that? You're going to complain? So, I mean, of course, there's people that complain about anything and everything. Now, can people change? For sure. For sure. And a lot of times it comes down to that environment for them to know that it's okay. It's okay. And hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if my belief is right, but I know it's right for me. And I'll get personal here. You can see a picture of my wife, my son. I got a picture of my daughter over here. My wife she calls it, she's a realist. And for me, I say, it's got tinges of negativity to it. The world isn't ending. I mean, we're going through a pandemic, but we're still alive. So essentially, I'm going to make a choice to make the most out of the situation and turn it into as much positive as I can. Versus, and she doesn't do this, but you have a choice. You can either give up, throw your hands in the air and say, I give up. There's no future. We can't do anything right. I mean, or you can say, hey, is the situation terrible? For sure. But can I do something positive with it, impact others? For sure. So that's the choice I make. And I try my best, everyone I touch, to just lead by example, to lead by what I do, to lead by the words that I speak, that, hey, you can also make that choice as well.
Yeah, I wish more people adopted that mentality for sure, Larry. Thank you so much, man. I guess, Larry, for any of our viewers here who have been just absolutely pumped by the straight knowledge you've been dropping on this pod today, and sort of been inspired to consider or just learn more about getting into sales, tech sales, like what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, number one, sales, tech sales, it's the best daggone career in the world outside of being a pro baseball player. I'm going to keep it real with you. If I could be a pro baseball player, woo, sayonara sales. But essentially, it's the best daggone profession because you get to help people. And that's what I would encourage is you got to ask yourself, do I enjoy, am I passionate about helping others? Because if you get into it, and there's financial benefits, if you get into it to make the money, it's going to come through. If you get into it because you think that that's going to make you happy, if you're not happy helping others, good luck. You might want to pick a different career. But if you truly, deep in your heart and in your mind and with your mouth and with your actions, you care about helping others, I truly encourage you to get into sales. If you're in sales, I encourage you to stick with it. It's tough. This journey, believe you me, when I made 150 calls, it was tough. There were days, I mean, I felt like I was back starting my baseball career in the ACC when I started off 1 for my first 24. It was probably 1 for my first 26, but I just try to lessen how bad I was. But essentially, it's like mental warfare. It's like, gosh, am I ever going to succeed? But it's one of those things where you got to stick with it. You got to stay confident. You got to stay positive. You got to stay curious. And if you keep going up the bat You keep, I don't care how many times you strike out, you keep showing up to bat and you keep working on your skills. You go back to the drawing board and you practice. Like Allen Iverson said, we're talking about practice. You will be better in the end. I'm not going to guarantee you're going to be a beast. I'd be lying to you, but I can guarantee that you will see improvement. And as you continue to improve, for me, it gets a lot of fun. Yeah, I have a lot of fun improving. I have a lot of fun in sales. You keep score. So the scoreboard says it all. I like being at the top of the scoreboard. It's just that internal fire that, hey, I don't like being number 2. I definitely don't like being number 3. I'm trying to be number 1, baby. I'm going to do what it takes to be number 1. And the good thing about sales is the more people you help, the more likelihood you have of being number 1. It's like, wow, look at how many people I helped. And in return, I get to help myself. I get to take home a little bit of ducats. I get to make a little bit of money to do some things. It's, for me, I absolutely love it.
Larry, thank you so much, man. You hype me up and you always bring a smile to my face, man. We're definitely going to do a part 2. But for anyone out there who would like to contact you directly, where can they reach you?
You can holler at me on LinkedIn. Just holler at me at Larry Long Jr. You'll see my big cheesy smile. You can't miss it. I got the bald head going, so I look like a milk dud. Holler at your boy.
Awesome, Larry. Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure. I'm excited to definitely do a part 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's for sure. And I'm wishing you the best of luck with teamwork, man. Seems really exciting.
Thank you, Mateo. I just want to say thank you to all the listeners. Appreciate you all tuning in. Let me know if I can ever help.
Awesome. Sales Dev Squad, we will catch you guys on the next one.